felony charge for filing a false police report.
Police are preparing for a press conference this morning, a bond hearing later this afternoon. Eva Pilgrim is in Chicago with the latest. Good morning, Eva.
Robin, once the victim, now the suspect. This morning at 5:15, Jussie Smollett turned himself in to police.
This morning, Jussie Smollett taken into custody. Police accusing him of filing a false police report, fabricating the racist and homophobic attack he said he suffered at the hands of two men wearing ski masks. The Empire star arrested in Chicago just hours ahead of a bail hearing. The 36-year-old facing a felony charge of disorderly conduct.
It's like, you know, at first it was a thing of like, listen, if I tell the truth, then that's it, because it's the truth. Then it became a thing of like, oh, how can you doubt that? Like, how do you not believe that? It's the truth.
Smollett detailed the alleged brutal attack in an interview with ABC last week.
And I see the attacker masked, and he said, "This MAGA country punches me right in the face." So I punched his ass back. And then...
Shut your lying ass up. You know, it's been a lot of shit going on the last couple of days on this channel, the last week, right? Let's clear the air. Let's talk about the tapes. Let's talk about Mr. Jussie Smollett. I haven't heard of this guy until literally like a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, when this shit all hit the fan. I never watched Empire. Why would I watch some show like that? It's not, you know, it's geared towards like women in the homosexual community, correct? I'm not shitting on the show. I just, nah, not for me. I got to take that Leo Santa Cruz banner down. I keep forgetting. False charges are damaging. It's a shame that, as the Chicago police were saying, is look at all the crimes that happen in Chicago, or more importantly, look at all the false charges that get filed that get no justice. Men, you know, filing false charges for whatever. Women filing false charges for whatever. People saying shit happened, especially in this political landscape. For him, as a black man and a gay man at the same time, he done fucked up big time. They got to make an example out of him. I feel that they should kill him off in the worst possible way on Empire. Don't just have him go on a plane and the plane crash and disappear. Some shit got to go down. Like, he's got to pay for that. Like, and then for him to of all things, to bring Trump into it. Because, of course, they're going to have a field day, Trump supporters. They're going to have a field day like, look, they're trying to all this propaganda. He's got to go. Like, he's got to go to jail, meaning. And on Empire, they got to get rid of him. It's just not a good look. And I'm just looking at him, you know, and it's crazy because a lot of people didn't like the movie, but I liked Alien Covenant. Too bad there won't be another one to further explain shit. I wish they would have, you know, kept the story like as a real prequel, not some in another universe part prequel shit, you know. But overall, he was in it, and I didn't even peep it. That was him. He was in it. Listen, like, filing false charges is a crime, and to the extent of what he went through, right? And then he was so stupid, yo, he wrote them a check. He hired black guys to pose as white guys, wrote him a check. He kept the noose and all that shit. Yo, bro. Like, but that goes to show you how, like, criminals or like people be stupid. Like, he's got to be one of the stupidest criminals I've ever seen, because he is a criminal. That's what he is. He filed false charges. He is a criminal, right? Let's listen to a little bit more of this. Now, this is just like, this is just a random, it's videos everywhere, all of it. This is small like potatoes, like compared to like how he's being crucified by media. Like, he wrote him a check. Like, what was this? He's a dumbass.
When you lie about things like this.
Overnight,
here, listen.
Have been in contact at least once since the incident.
What is he?
I think that Jussie's conscience is probably not letting him sleep right now, so I think he should unload that conscience and just come out and tell the American people what actually happened.
Who the would make something like this up or add something to it or whatever it may be? I can't even.
Hold on. I want you to see his face when he say this shit. I want you to see his face when he say this shit. And he's a fucking actor.
And just come out and tell the American people what actually happened.
Who the would make something like this up or add something to it or whatever it may be? I can't even. I'm an advocate.
He got the Black Power button. He got the LGBT rainbow shit. The whatever.
I'm an advocate. You do such a disservice when you lie about things like this.
Overnight, a new statement from Smollett's legal team defending the actor, saying, like any other citizen, Mr. Smollet enjoys the presumption of innocence, particularly when there has been an investigation like this one, where information, both true and false, has been repeatedly leaked. Given these circumstances, we intend to conduct a thorough investigation and to mount an...
Court of public opinion is a motherfucker. So let's change up. I did all this intentionally because obviously, people have been wondering what's been going on with my channel, what's been going on with my brand. We've been rebranding for quite some time now. Don't get me wrong. Boxing is not going anywhere. But the level, like the capacity of what I'm going to be covering boxing is not going to be, you know, as much as it used to. So I'm going to do my best to cover as many fights, and we're going to still be getting credentials and going to fights and all that. But in order to further help my cause and to help the brand, it's best that I stop boxing myself into boxing and covering other things like I did on the other channel where we can bring more people into this channel. So, however, I've been dealing with something very similar to this situation, you know, and it's really enlightened me on a lot of things. I've had a false, here, I'm going to let you read this for a little minute before I come back. I want you to read it. And I want to know, especially, you know, to anybody who's going to be watching this video, this is a false police report. I had a woman, the audio you heard, now that audio was from 2014, March of 2014. At that point in time, she was about a month or so, month and a half, maybe 2 months pregnant. That restraining order right there, that PFA, it was a PFA I filed against her. So she said that I beat her up to stop her from coming to court for a restraining order I had against her. That's how dumb criminals work. They say such but the thing is, she slipped through the cracks because she wasn't a celebrity and it didn't get no publicity, that her and her mother testified against me on the stand, right? On the stand. And the reason why it even went to court is because I was not allowed due process. They came to pick me up from my home while I was on my way to court for the restraining order, to get the restraining order finalized because she was stalking me. And she had me arrested 2 hours before the court date, thinking that, you know, the court date was going to like get thrown away. It didn't. When I got out, it kept getting continued. Why? It's because I now had an open criminal case for all these. I was facing 14 years in prison because she said that I kicked her in her stomach while she was pregnant with my child. Go back and listen to the audio. That's why I told her when she first started acting crazy, I was listening to the conversations, and then after a while I was like, oh shit, I live by myself. I wasn't taking care of my father at that time. This is when I first started becoming a recluse. I was staying away from all my friends, you know, and I was really in deep research working on what is now Fight View 360. None of this was here. It was just a guy on YouTube, no graphics, no nothing. So, you know, I was in the Batcave working. So she kept saying stuff like, don't you know, because of your past history and me being a teacher, I can just go to the police and say that you beat me up and they're going to believe me, Terrell. They're going to believe me. And she literally said that. So I have that audio too, and I'm holding on to it for a little bit longer. And it's going to be released because I realized, wait a minute. Like, I can do that. It's nothing wrong with doing it. I've been getting a lot of people telling me, yo, you shouldn't be putting this information out there. What is wrong with you? It's either you fight or you flight. My custody case is 1,500 and now 50 days long. 1,550 days. That's 4+ years. How long was I supposed to allow this to keep going on? And also, what am I doing that's illegal? Putting out the truth of a criminal, of a woman who is literally literally trying to kidnap my child. And I told the courts this. It's all in documented paperwork. But guess what the courts did? They said, we're going to continue this until the court date. I said, she's probably not going to show up. I had the police sent to her house twice. Welfare check. She hasn't been there. Currently, right now, I don't know where my daughter is. But guess what? I go to, this was a couple of months ago. I go to Child Protective Services, DHS, and I tell them the whole story. I'm in this little interview room, and don't you know what they tell me? The Department of Human Services, Child Protective Services. I'm saying here right now, if I had a Bible down here, I would swear on it. She said, they're doing you black brothers so wrong. She said, go to the news. She said, I'm going to hold on to this and go to your trial. And if nothing doesn't happen, come back. It's in file. It's in this paperwork right here. It's in file. They have all of this. I've been transparent about everything. So I'm going to tell you the story of what happened and why she's so bitter and why she's so angry, because no matter what, Monday is my trial and I'm going to move on with my life. So for the people who want to make assumptions about my mental health and all that type of stuff, really ask yourself this. What do you really know about me that I didn't tell you? Think about it. Unfortunately, I'm sorry. I've been having a real hard issue, you know, telling people or talking about it, but I realized I'm very smart, smarter than I ever thought I was. And it wasn't until I stopped listening to people and like following my own ambitions and my own like intuition that I really started becoming successful. I became a homeowner, all cash, vehicle owner, business owner. Right now I look around and I've been thinking to myself, why are you still working? All you got to do is just take care of your pop and you literally don't have to work ever again in life. Well, for him, that's it. I work for him. Like I can sit around and get fat, watch cartoons, play video games, watch whatever I want on all day, every day. I do not have to do this. In fact, it's a part, we apply for partnership. Again, we're going to be getting ads on this channel soon. You know, so that's why I've been cleaning up, you know, the content, you know, not playing as much music, things like that. But I am considered like a YouTube expert. People call me and, or they be trying to, motherfuckers be calling my office phone, emailing me, you know, hey, yo, your channel, what, you using this and everything. I want to do this and that. And, you know, they want me to come to these, they've been trying to get me to, I'm not going to tell you who, but trying to get me to come to these, summits, like to talk about like YouTube rules and shit like that. Like, I'm really like, no bullshit. I'm not lying to you. I'm kind of like, you know, I've learned that I'm kind of becoming an expert. Like, did you notice we can pretty much do whatever we want on YouTube on the channel to an extent? We are in the terms of use to make sure our channel is compliant and everything like that. Don't get it twisted. This is a business. But I've realized that how far do you go for your child? Like, especially when you're in a situation where the courts are failing you and everybody's telling you the courts are failing you, but yet you're sitting on all the proof that can set you free. So the only people that are telling me not to do this are you guys, because y'all don't know the extent of the, you know, situation. Have you ever been involved in a criminal trial where you literally don't know if you're going to go to prison or not? And let alone being involved in a criminal trial if you had nothing to do with, if somebody told you, an idiot told you that I'm going to frame you, I'm going to set you up, not in those words, but I'm going to frame you and set you up, and the courts are going to do nothing. They're going to believe me. And then the courts actually believe her. So basically, I've been in litigation since 2014. November, I got arrested. She filed this on September the 20th. What saved my life is I was doing a live stream, Google Hangout. It was Groves and Mayweather All Access. Mayweather Madonna 2 All Access. This channel at that point in time was about 2 months old. We had gained like 15,000 subscribers in like 2 months. It was crazy because I had first finally went on my own, and I was like, all right, we're going to take over this boxing shit and boxing media. And then she pulls this crap. It destroyed my life. Now, before that, I was already in litigation because me and my father had a whole bunch of money tied up with this idiot company who we won against as well. Another company, another entity, or, you know, set of people who thought they were going to underestimate my intelligence. And let's just say I did get a victory, a moral victory. But that's water under the bridge. So my money was messed up. So let me tell you the history of this woman first. In fact, let's take a little bit of a break. We're going to listen to a little bit more of it. In fact, I'm going to find another Smollet video because this guy's a clown. This guy's a clown.
Moving over to M.
Like, oh, we'll be back. Oh, by the way, my merchandise store is coming out. We got a lot of stuff going on. And also, it's a lot of fights today. Shout out to my homie Donnell. He's out in Minneapolis. I forgot that place even exists. We got credentials for the Anthony Durrell, Avni Yildirim, PBC on Fox Sports 1 fight. See, listen, I be working. People think that I just be sitting around just ranting on. I wonder, like, do people think that I just sit on, like, Twitter and, like, Facebook, like, you niggas. No, I be watching shit like this, and I go click. I be like, ooh. Oh, I'm going to show you what I do right now. Let's take a little break first. I'm going to show you how I handle Twitter shit. Let's take a little break.
Bond hearing, that bond has been set for $100,000. The court required Smollet to turn over his passport, and he'll be monitored leading up to the trial.
January 22nd, 2019, defendant Smollet received a written letter at the Sin Space Chicago Film Studios, which is the facility on the southwest side of Chicago where the Empire television show is filmed. This letter contained written threats directed towards defendant Smollet and contained a then unknown white powdery substance. The letter also contained cutout letters pieced together which stated, Smollet Jussie, you will die, Black F, and the word MAGA was handwritten on the envelope where the return address typically is located. This powdery substance has since been determined to be crushed ibuprofen tablets. The letter also contained a drawing of a stick figure, which appears to have a rope around the neck and a gun pointed towards it. Law enforcement authorities were contacted, and the letter was turned over to the Federal Bureau of Investigation, which is currently conducting forensic analysis of the letter. In January of 2019, and at all times relevant hereto, defendant Smollet was close friends with an individual by the name of Abimbola Abel Osundero, who is 25 years old. Smollet and Abel initiated their friendship in the fall of 2017. During the course of this friendship, defendant Smollet and Abel socialized together, exercised together, as well as worked on the Fox television series Empire. Within that working relationship, Abel was a stand-in for a character named Kai, who is a love interest of defendant Smollett's character on the Empire TV show. Additionally, text messages between defendant Smollet and Abel revealed that Abel was a source of designer drugs for defendant Smollet. Specifically, since the spring of 2018 and on several occasions, defendant Smollet requested Abel to provide him with Molly, which is street name for the narcotic ecstasy. Text messages generated by defendant Smollet to Abel, specifically starting on the morning of January 25th, 2019, revealed defendant Smollet asking Abel when he would be leaving on his trip to Nigeria. This trip was scheduled to take place on the evening of January 29th of 2019, and it had been planned by Abel and his brother, Olabenjo Ola Osundero, who's 27 years old, 2 months prior. After Abel confirmed the date and time of his trip, defendant Smollet texted Abel stating, "Might need your help on the low. You around to meet up to talk face to face?" The two then made arrangements to meet at the Sin Space Studios that afternoon, where defendant Smollet subsequently drove Abel home to Abel's apartment in the Lakeview neighborhood. During the ride, Smollet indicated to Abel his displeasure that the Empire Studios handling of the racist and homophobic letter he received 3 days prior. Defendant Smollet then stated that he wanted to stage an attack where Abel would appear to batter him. Defendant Smollet also suggested that Abel's older brother Ola assist him with the attack. Defendant Smollet had met Ola on several previous occasions through Abel. Additionally, Ola had appeared as an extra of the Empire TV show. Abel and Ola are both dark-skinned black males born in the United States with Nigerian descent. When defendant Smollet and Abel reached Abel's apartment at approximately 5 p.m. on January 25th, 2019, Ola, who was then living with Abel, was summoned into defendant Smollett's vehicle. Once inside, Smollet asked Ola if he could trust him. When Ola said he could, Smollet detailed his plans of the attack to the brothers. Smollet stated that he wanted them to appear to attack him on the evening of January 28, 2019, near his apartment building in Streeterville. Defendant Smollet also stated he wanted the brothers to catch his attention by calling him an Empire F, Empire N. Defendant Smollet further detailed that he wanted Abel to attack him, but not hurt him too badly, and to give him a chance to appear to fight back. Defendant Smollet also included that he wanted Ola to place a rope around his neck, pour gasoline on him, and yell, "This is MAGA country." Prior to the brothers getting out of Smollett's car, Smollet provided Abel with a $100 bill to purchase the rope, gasoline, ski masks, gloves, and the red baseball caps, which resemble the ones that say,
"It's an ugly situation." But, you know, false charges, you know, like I said, I've realized that I'm not the same person I used to be because of it. Like, imagine having to go to court every month. Literally. Every month, almost. Well, except for the time where I was in a coma. I was in a coma for, February 25th is when I remember being coherent. Of last year. Imagine, right? I never talked about it, and I'm going to upload the video later. I was in a coma, afraid that my baby mom had sent assassins to kill me so I couldn't make it to the court date. I remember I was so scared to say her name in like the video, but literally, it started with me. As I told the story before, I was in like, you know, some purgatory type jail. So I was dreaming, or in the coma, she had hired these dudes to kill me while I was having an asthma attack in the hospital. They was trying to strangle me and shit. I never said it was her up until now. I was afraid to say it. All this time, I was scared to say it. I had a dream. Like, literally, I'm scared to death of that woman. I'm not even joking with you. Like, I literally just started standing up to her. Like, just started after all these years. She's been bullying me in the courts. Like, shrink down the family court building, right? Shrink it down. I've been to 70+ hearings. I damn near work down there. Literally, I'm not even lying to you. I'm not even lying to you. No, I didn't have a lawyer. I didn't have any money. I was dirt broke. She bankrupted me. And the courts allowed it. I was bankrupt. It was one hearing. My mom went. Remember, I was in a coma from February 6th to February 25th. I got out the hospital in March. Early March, like March the 9th or something is when I first came home. My mom, I was bedridden. I couldn't walk. Like, I had I had lost 100 pounds. I had like nerve issues because when you're laying for that period of time, I didn't know that short period of time, it seemed like a short period of time. Your body just starts like decaying pretty much. Muscles start shriveling up, everything. So I was skinny and shit. Feet, legs was skinny and shit. So I couldn't move around. So, and I was in so much pain from what's called neuropathy. You don't want, it's nerve issues where your nerves are starting to fire again from them moving around. So it's like needles, like hard ass needles. You like up all night, like, you know, it was bad. It was bad. It was bad. I still barely have feeling in my toes, and I still got a limp, not from my ankle being fucked up, but I had a limp before that because literally I just learned how to walk again. Like, I'm talking about like walking without falling and like tipping over and shit. Like, I started walking comfortably in like August. But I was like, not comfortably. I was still limping. I couldn't move fast. But I was like, oh, all right, I'm getting this. So, moving on. She comes to see me at my house. First time I ever seen my daughter outside of court. I don't know why I didn't take any pictures. But I was all high. You know, I was on, at that point in time, probably about maybe 16 pills a day. You know, all that different stuff. You know, I was in a coma. I had, you know, and then I I had all this shit. I showed y'all before. But this is where the breathing tube was in, and this is where they sucked all the, it was called ECMO, where they sucked all the, here, I'll show y'all real quick. Because we got to wrap up this video soon. Is this one it? Yeah, this was it. So basically, for the better part of probably about 5 years, maybe 6, I was walking around with what they told me was like a form of walking pneumonia. And I was told, they was like, how the fuck was you walking around like that, not being able to breathe? Y'all know I was like always having breathing issues. I haven't had not one breathing issue since. So what they do is they use this machine. It doesn't look like this, but they use like all these gears and machine and shit to act as your heart and to bypass your heart and your lungs. So basically, if these tubes get disconnected, you're done. So when people had to come in a room to see me, they had to like wear all this special gear and be like monitored and shit. And I was having an issue because in the coma, I was fighting, you know, fighting the motherfucking assassins that I thought my baby mom had sent to try to kill me. But they said I was moving around a lot and trying to get up, which I was. I remember it's a weird, trippy thing. When you're in a coma, it's not like a dream. You know what's going on, but you don't. Your reality is distorted. So everywhere I was at in the coma, it was at one point in time I was able to fight. But for the most part, I was always stuck somewhere, either stuck in a chair, stuck in like a bed, you know, like just could not move. And I remember like my head being so heavy, you know, and my arms, I'm like in the coma, I'm thinking like I'm moving my arms and everything. And I'm looking like trying to lift my arms and everything up. And then, oh, I got some trippy stories for you. Let me tell you, those 19 days, let me tell you. So, one goes in, you know, the neck. That's where my scar is. And then it goes, I got another scar right on my groin. The blood gets sucked out. Literally, your blood is being sucked out of your body. It's being, you know, sucked out, put into this machine, cleaned up, filtered, hot ass air is coming up and shit. Your body's real hot. You got like fevers and all that. And then it's going into the machine and then going back in. It's like, I forgot what the mortality rate is, but a lot of people don't come back. In fact, they wanted me to do a case study, but my mom kind of messed it up. Not a case study, a study, because people who have this procedure, they don't do their follow-ups and they don't know how people cope with it. And right now, from what I've been researching, I'm one of the rare people that, you know, in my case, I couldn't have, this is very uncomfortable, by the way. So they said it's better when people are in a coma or sedated. Now, I had to be sedated because I have respiratory failure. But you see all this shit you got to wear? Like, I can't imagine that shit. I can't imagine it. So, yeah, man, your blood's being pumped all through this stuff. But, you know, they had me strapped down like a motherfucker, I heard. But, you know, it was rough. But, see, I realized, like, what I do on YouTube and, you know, the way I conduct myself, a lot of people, they're like, TstreeT, you shouldn't be doing this. And think about how people are, like, viewing you and stuff. Yes, I am. I'm as transparent as they come. I'm not doing anything illegal. Yeah, I may seem a little erratic, keyword seem. But I have a lot of responsibilities in real life, IRL. And I'm at a point right now is the question I ask is, how far do you go when somebody has your child? I hear people say I would die for my kids and all type of stuff. And I be thinking like, I actually did. I can go on all day about, you know, how this situation right here, it destroyed my family. I was raised by my grandparents. Last time I talked to both of them, they asked me, where's my child? How's my child doing? This woman tried to get them to kick in my grandparents' door, my grandparents' house. They're no longer around. So when people say you should be careful what you say and everything, no, I want the courts to see this because they got to answer to why this sicko woman, which she is. Go ahead, defamation, whatever. Where was my champion? You know, where was the people fighting for me? When, you know, I was curled up in the ball, laying in my own filth in a one-bedroom apartment that I couldn't afford to pay rent on. Because, and then she's out there with my child. I'm going to my grandparents' funerals by myself. Pretty much. One, my grandparents I went by my grandfather I went by myself. My grandmother I went with another evil woman. But whatever, it is what it is. I was no angel. I was a serial womanizer and cheater. That's why she got mad. So what happened was we met up, and I had just quit bartending. So I was transitioning. I was already a caregiver, but I was transitioning to caring for my pop because he's terminally ill. So he was more of a priority. So I knew I had to clean my life up. So I had quit bartending because I can't tell you because it's just going to get me upset. This woman is sick. Sick. Sick, 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 sick. I'm talking about Lifetime movie. I got documents. I got video. I got a Samsung Galaxy S4 that it don't charge no more, but inside that phone is some dark, dark shit from this woman. She really was literally trying to kill me. And I'm thinking like, all right, well, in my mind, in my stupid, stupid mind, I thought to myself, I said, well, maybe if I stop cheating on her, she won't be so crazy. So this is how she set me up. We met up in the park. She had caught me. Well, she didn't catch me personally. I went to work one day. I was working at TGI Fridays. I went to work one day, and I'm the opening bartender out of King of Prussia. That Fridays is no longer around. I'm the opening bartender. The host, who I was cool with, because, you know, the host and, you know, the cooks and the bartender's always there, you know, like an hour early before the restaurant opens, getting everything together. So the host says, yo, T, somebody on the phone is a chick acting like, you know, trying to disguise her voice. And I'm like, what, for real? I go to pick up the phone, and, you know, they hung up. Fast forward, I get off work, I make it home. I'm wondering why my side chick not picking up her phone. And I'm not talking about this to be cocky. I'm talking like, you know, because I already know how people think. I'm an easy target for y'all to try to paint me as the bad guy. So, because that's what she was. She was, you know, she was my lady friend side chick. So I get home. I'm wondering why she's not picking up like my texts and everything, or answering my texts or calls, because I usually go pick her up. So what I was doing was I was really feeling her. I was feeling her. So I was literally getting ready to like cut off the crazy one. The one just so happened I impregnated, and I was going to chill and fall back with her. But turns out, while I was at work, this woman had a copy of my key illegally, went into my apartment while that other woman was naked in my bed, confronted her and said, hi, I'm Terrell's girlfriend. And they had this whole big thing, you know, I don't know what they really talked about, and I don't know what lies that woman told her, but she believed it, and they both trashed my apartment. I had it on video. And Don Juan Banks, he has that video. He has a lot of videos that were literally into the arena. He has a lot of videos that talk about that, with my past and all this crazy with this woman. What else? Trying to figure out where else to start. So I started sleeping around a little bit more after them, and then I, you know, was missing, you know, them. Then, you know, I'm being honest with you. And I was like, yo, I'm turning 30 in a couple months. I want to settle down. She was the only one that picked up, and I was like, you know, all right, I just got to be cool and stop cheating and all that. So met her in the park a couple weeks before our birthday. Our birthdays, and both our birthdays are in August. Met her in the park, and she was like, you know, Terrell, why didn't you just leave me alone and let me move on with my life and everything? She did give me a warning. Why didn't you let me move on with my life and everything like that? And I was like, listen, you know I was going through a lot of shit because I had just settled a big ass lawsuit. I'm talking about, it took like everything out of me to get like that lawsuit. It took everything out of me. You know, I talked about it before in the past, but I'm not going to mention it here. And technically, that's another reason why she's mad, is money motivated. So I was drinking a lot. I was partying a lot. I was sleeping around. And then I was like, you know what? It's finally done. I want to move on my life. My father's dying. I want to get him out of that home. And, you know, I want to focus on my boxing shit. This was back in 2013, August of 2013. So For those, the longtime followers, remember I went to rehab from August the 22nd. I secretly went to rehab from alcohol abuse from August the 22nd until August the 28th. I made sure that I was going to be released and clean and sober by my 30th birthday, which was on August the 29th. And then that's when I fully started focusing on boxing. And that's when the views, especially Into the Arena, started like skyrocketing. I'm talking about I was getting like unheard of views for the boxing community at the time on YouTube. Like hundreds of thousands, like weekly, like type shit. But I was doing what they're doing now, all that ranting and just yelling and screaming. But the thing is, people used to always say like, yo, if he calmed down and he really focused on his shit, he can really be smart as shit in boxing. He can really, really, you know, like be good at covering boxing, which is what I did. A lot of people didn't like it. They was like, he didn't soft and everything. He didn't sold out. But it was the best decision I ever made in my life to, like, you know, legitimize. We're a legitimate business. I built my own website. I built FightView360.com. Click the link down below. Check out our sponsors. Check out our banners. This is a legitimate business. So moving on, meet her in the park. And she like, you know, you got to get me a promise ring. And I'm like, what the fuck is that? Like, she said it was supposed to be like a ring that like supposed to lead to marriage. So I'm like, I'm not getting you no promise ring. Like, I don't know what that shit is. I'm sorry. And even though I know maybe I should have gave in, but I don't know. Tell me if I'm wrong. And then she was like, you know, if you really care about me, you're going to go to rehab and I'm like, rehab? No, at that point in time, let me tell you what my drinking was. I was a bartender at Fridays and I was sleeping around a lot. So it was a routine I had where I would leave work. I was a daytime bartender. I would leave work, go meet a woman somewhere at a happy hour, go home, get dressed, have to meet her at 8 o'clock before she get off work or some old stuff like that. I'm talking about like I had like career high times. Like I was on a rampage. So it was a routine of, and I just got my Tahoe. It was a 2013 Tahoe. I got it in 2013. So of course, you know, everybody got to go through it sometime. It humbles you. You know, your head get too big and then you got to hit rock bottom to learn from it. So, she made me hit rock bottom. So, she like, you know, you got to go to rehab. And I'm like, wait a minute. You damn well know I'm not sitting at home like, but with the character that I was on Into the Arena, I kept being promoted to drink. Like Don, I used to be like looking at him like, yo, bro, this ain't right. And I noticed that my partying started escalating off of that because I used to have to drink to be in character for the videos. So when she said that, I was like, you know what? And then I thought about it. And I've always put myself in situations like that. I even took a felony for somebody before. But I don't rat. I'm not no rat. I'm not going to tell on nobody. You know, even if, you know, I'm not telling on nobody. Well, her, except her. I'm going to tell on her because she got my child. But I always put myself in situations like that where later on people cross me and it hurts me later on by me showing what type of character that I am. So in this case, she's like, you know, if you really want to, you know, show me that you love me, you'll go to rehab. And I'm like, she's like, I want to know that you know, like, and I was like, but you know, so she didn't tell me until we're gonna be here all night if I tell you. But it was part of her plan to try to keep me locked in. So I was like, all right, well, I'm not working. Let's do it in some secret shit. So it was me, Don. We had planned it out for like a week, 2 weeks. And I said, well, we got to get it done. I'm not going to go into my 30th birthday. I want to be like full fresh with a girlfriend, you know, working on getting my house, working on getting my business. And I want to like fall off the map like I am right now. So August the 21st, it's like 10 p.m. Don come over and I say, this is what you got to do. I say, in order for it to work, for me to check myself in so they keep me, basically, when you go to try to check yourself into like a free rehab, they try to say, well, come back tomorrow, or you got to go to outpatient and everything. They can't do that because somebody might be really fucked up. So unfortunately, you know, what I did, which backfired against me, what I did was I said, Don, in order for it to work right, I got to be TstreeT to go in there. So you got to get me real drunk. He picked up a bottle of the fucking, what's that liquor? The green label, the 90 proof green label shit, the cheap vodka. I never drink. I don't think I've drank vodka since then. I do not fuck with, no, I can't drink vodka. That was my drink of the past. I do not fuck with it. No vodka. So he brought the cheap stuff. And we sitting there talking, watching videos, and he like, yo, you sure you want to do this? By the way, she's there at the time. You know her, she's there. And I'm like, listen, man, like, let's just get this out of the way, you know, because also I wanted to make sure that my head was cool after that whole custody thing. Not the custody thing, the lawsuit. We had just literally settled a lawsuit for like there was, and I wanted to make sure that going in to that situation that I was like clean headed and like fully, you know, like, I guess, what do you say, lucid? So I was like, all right, it ain't gonna be that bad. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be like research. So I get real drunk, and I remember he dropped me off, and I'm like, all right, I don't know what's gonna happen, because I was drunk. I was like, I forgot what I was doing. I just remember like he walking me in there like to like the Episcopal Hospital, and it's like it's a dude sitting at the desk. He like, yeah, what's going on? And I remember, I don't know, I was acting a fool. It's not funny, but I was acting a fool. So the next thing I remember is that morning, like after I'm in like that whole intake with like the crazy people, you know, the mentally ill people. And I'm starting to sober up. And I'm like, you here now, bro. So I remember telling him all kind of a crazy ass story. I'm not going to tell you what I told him because I barely remember it. I barely remember it. So when I woke up the next morning, I had went to sleep because I was so tired. I finally got a room. They gave me a single room too. And I remember getting the best sleep I ever had in my life because obviously they had put all this shit in me and I got the best sleep I ever had in my life. And then I remember looking out the window and it was like sunny. And then I was looking around and I kept seeing like people keep peeking in the door and shit, like peeking in the door, you know, like checking on you and shit. And I was like, wow, we in here. So it was an experience. I got to learn a lot of things about the mental health system and the job that they have to do. Because let me tell you, I was in the worst of the worst city. I'm not saying it in worst in regards to like services, but a bad neighborhood where like the bad people go. I was in the nuthouse. So while I'm in there, I'm like, it's not like jail. It's not like jail, you know, because I had a friend who I was trying to explain this. He went to rehab about last year or so. And I was trying to explain to him like, yo, bro, like he really, 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 really needed. He was on some really alcoholic type shit. So finally he went and he was in a lot longer than me, like months. But he got like the full benefit of it. Like he's fully like a different man. His outlook on life is different. So, you know, I do help people in that way in regards to letting them know, like, listen, I'm not afraid to talk about it. Nobody's going to use that against me for going to get help voluntarily. So, moving on, got out. I did a video. And then a couple of weeks later, I did a video. And then I remember it was Mayweather Canelo All Access. So I got out and it was the first time I ever built up a fight. From like covering all accesses, the press conferences and everything, Mayweather Canelo, and then the numbers just was rolling in, and I was like, I can ride with this. So you know, I'm going to therapy and I'm digging it. Like my life is going really, really good. I'm going to therapy every week, talking, you know, just running my mouth, you know, kind of picking their heads a little bit because you know them therapists, it's a revolving door, especially through the state system. So you know. Every month I was having a new therapist and having to go through that whole them getting to know me again. I was getting a little frustrated with it, but I was like, this is cool. It was my little day trip. You know, I would go there into therapy, then go over to Chinatown, have like a nice lunch or something like that, go home to my woman. So one day, now she was already, you know, getting pretty crazy. One day, I'm talking to my therapist about how like she's still accusing me of cheating and everything. No, at this point in time, months had passed. You know, a few months had passed. So I got out of she told me she was pregnant in March. That's what the calls were from. We broke up, I believe it was that January, because I always had to do things around like dates. So it was like my New Year's resolution. I was like, all right, I'm 30 now. It's my New Year's resolution. You know, I can't be, you know, dealing with her if she's going to be some crazy shit and not believe in me. So, you know, she was supposed to be on birth control, by the way, too. So she just completely trapped me. I admit that. So to try to save our relationship, I knew like my therapist, he couldn't tell me, his name was Mike. He couldn't tell me like to leave her. Like, you know, they can't tell you like to, you know, like leave your girl. But he was like, you know, you seem to be doing really, really good. You know, I was checking out some of your boxing videos, and he was like, you know, but you got to eliminate your stressors. Like he was saying like your stressors, like, you know, like kind of saying like her, because after a while, like all we was talking about was her. So he was like, well, invite her in and let her know, you know, so she can see that you're doing the right thing and everything. So when I go to invite her, I say, yeah, come down to therapy with me. We're going to go to lunch and everything. I want you to see what your boyfriend, your man is doing. When she declined and said, no, I'm not going down there, you know, with you. I'm not the one, the crazy person. And I was looking like, oh, okay. I wasn't going to say what I was really going to say. I was like, all right. So a week later, we broke up. She disappears. We started having sex on and off. Then she ends up pregnant. She disappears again. Tells me that she's going to put my baby up for adoption. I was like, yeah, we're not going to have that. I started threatening legal action. So therefore, she told me that, well, your legal action won't supersede or oversee my legal action because you have a criminal record. They'll believe me over you. And she was right. She went and made all this shit up. Listen, she said I kicked her in her stomach while she was pregnant with my child. She said I kicked her in her stomach, and she went far, like kind of like this guy, like she went far. She went to the doctors twice. I found out through the trial. She went first time, it wouldn't stick. The story wouldn't stick, so she had to go back and get like some type of something that they say is like bad for a pregnant woman, like a full body scan. But they were saying like for somebody, it had to really be a serious issue for them to do that. She faked being dizzy, and she faked her and her mother. They conspired to try to have me put in prison for 14 years. So when the trial came along, to fast forward, it was a trial. You know, they had to testify. I didn't have to talk. I wanted to, but my lawyer was like, yo, you don't know. You're good. Trust me. Especially because it took so long because she was trying to tell them. She told this, like, you know, I'm getting my hands on the transcripts because I like the transcripts, the court transcripts where, you know, like the stenographer, like whatever she's been saying, she told them that I knew how to hack into YouTube to like make my live streams make them come on later or whatever. She told them that. So obviously this is a criminal court of law. The judge looked at it like he did. He gave it his look, you know, and I was found not guilty. She was called a liar. She stormed out of the courtroom crying. Her and her mother got on a stand and testified against me. They tried to put me away for 14 years. They tried to give me a deal for 2 years first. And then I said, I'm not taking no deal. They didn't do nothing. But either way, never take a deal. You know, well, there's some deals you got to take. I had to take a deal years back. But I was in college. I had to take that one. And plus, I didn't want to rat. I'm not going to rat. Fuck that. You ain't going to put me on no motherfucking stand. So, I've got to a point where, like, I've realized that, you know, the courts can't tell me anything. The only remedy to this is let me see my child. You know, I have way too many job titles and way too much important shit to do to be dealing with the obtuseness of the family court system. And it's crazy because it's all over the internet. Like, it's not just one page. It's hundreds of pages of, like, how they're doing, like, men wrong. And they're allowing this stuff. And they want to tell me, TstreeT, you should be careful. They're watching your videos and they're going to use this. Use what? What are they going to do? I pay child support. I'm going to continue to pay child support. But one thing for sure is I'm not going to keep seeing my daughter in captivity. I have to go to supervised visitation to see my child because this woman, because she's still saying this. She's still saying this. She's literally still saying this in the courts, and they do not scrutinize it. She's still saying this. So I went to visit some, after, you know, CPS, I went to visit some local congressmen and stuff, and I don't want to be a protester. I really just want to move on. I want to take my daughter to the zoo. I want to, like, you know, like, Shrek was on this morning. I was thinking, like, damn. Like, literally, I was literally sitting on my couch early this morning and, like, imagining my daughter being there. What kind of crazy shit is that? I was like, wow, I wonder what she would be doing. And, like, I'm looking at my coffee table and thinking, like, I wonder what type of toys and, you know, Play-Doh or whatever she'd be playing with this early in the morning. You know? Oh, it's deep. It's deep, but the videos ran too long and I got work to do. So the content on this channel is changing. I've made my decision that, I'm going to follow my heart and I'm going to cover everything, not just boxing. And I'm not going to continue to allow this woman, and it's not just one judge. It's like family court. It's a system, of fathers not having rights and people not fighting, people telling me just to be silent. More so, not people close to me, but too many people, like are seeing this stuff and saying, "Teacher, you shouldn't talk about this in public." Why not? All my business was put out there in public, and if this was true, I would have been all over the news and all that, right? Or y'all would have been bashing me all over YouTube. Y'all asshole backwards. She deserves to be exposed. How many women out there, what if there's not men as strong as me that would have gave up? I've been fighting hearing after hearing. 70 plus. I told you, going to court every month. Going to visitation, she don't show up. Filing police reports, welfare checks. Telling them she's not following nothing. She told one judge she's not going to follow the order. And then the next week after the hearing, she literally doesn't show up. And then the week after doesn't show up. Then my child's birthday, Thanksgiving, Christmas. Imagine Christmas. The first Christmas you ever think, wow, I'm going to see my daughter. You go out in the morning, buy all this food. You send over a child support payment. The last, you're not going to have no more money for like whole fucking 4 days. So therefore, I had to get all her toys, get all this food to feed not only her and her mom, because her mom was supposed to supervise over my house, the one who testified against me. The courts, don't get me started. I made all this food. I was like, it's Christmas. I'm not going, I'm trying to bury the hatchet. And what do? They don't show. They scam me. I laid right on my dining room floor, literally. I laid right on my dining room floor. I'm literally trying not to cry. Like, I'm not, because I'm going to cry. I laid right on my dining room floor for like a good 9 hours. I remember I took my jacket off. I put my headphones on and I laid on my jacket. I just was laying there like, I was broken. I was broken. All that food, everything went to waste. I did a stream early morning on this channel. Me and Good Spirits going to buy that food. All went to waste. But we're just going to win. And if not, how 50 Cent did say, we're going to die trying. But I'm not going to no longer sit by and let these courts, And truth be told, like, this is the reason why I am the way I am today. Like, she has built Fight View 360. Inadvertently, she's made me the man I am today. She's made me wealthy. She's made me, like, meticulous when it comes to paperwork and emails. Because when somebody does this stuff to you, this guy, like, that fault, like, look, I'm not getting no justice for her filing false charges. I went to the police, but they let her.
Make America great again. The ride from Cinscape Studios to the Osendero brothers' home.
I can tell you some stories, man.
And the
it's a
brothers
saga.
Is
I'm not even telling you
by CPD pod videos and cellular phone tower data of Smollett's phone number. On the late morning of Sunday, January.
Look, they didn't give me all this benefit of the doubt when they came to fucking lock me up. They didn't check to see what my cell phone was. I was literally doing a live stream when she made this stuff up. Why did I have to wait a whole 15 months for a trial? But he's a celebrity. Oh, wait. And you know what? The Chicago police were right. Like, why is he getting, let me pull that up. Because they deserve to be heard on that. That's true. Let me see. Like, there's so much shit going on in Chicago, and then he got all this media attention.
I come to you not only as the superintendent of the Chicago Police Department.
We're going to watch this, and then we're going to go. Because I got boxing to do. Thank you, though. We're going to be covering more content like this, and not obviously talking about child custody and all that. But we're going to be covering more, content like this. I'm going to change up. I've been working on it already, but I'm still trying to figure out the format, because this is the boxing layout, For one, the show's going to be called TstreeT Uncut, but I'm trying to figure out, you know, how to lay everything out so it doesn't look like the boxing shit. But let's listen to this. They have every right to be mad. Every right. But they got to throw the book at him. Like, seriously.
But also as a black man who spent his entire life living in the city of Chicago. I know the racial divide that exists here. I know how hard it's been for our city and our nation to come together. And I also know the disparities, and I know the history. This announcement today recognizes that Empire actor Jussie Smollett took advantage of the pain and anger of racism to promote his career. I'm left hanging my head and asking why. Why would anyone, especially an African-American man, use the symbolism of a noose to make false accusations? How could someone look at the hatred and suffering associated with that symbol and see an opportunity to manipulate that symbol to further his own public profile? How can an individual who's been embraced by the city of Chicago turn around and slap everyone in this city in the face by making these false claims? Bogus police reports cause real harm. They do harm to every legitimate victim who's in need of support by police and investigators, as well as the citizens of this city. Chicago hosts one of the largest pride parades in the world, and we're proud of that as a police department and also as a city. We do not, nor will we ever tolerate hate in our city, whether that hate is based on an individual's sexual orientation, race, or anything else. So I'm offended by what's happened, and I'm also angry. I love the city of Chicago and the Chicago Police Department, warts and all. But this publicity stunt was a scar that Chicago didn't earn and certainly didn't deserve. To make things worse, the accusations within this phony attack received national attention for weeks. Celebrities, news commentators, and even presidential candidates weighed in on something that was choreographed by an actor. First, Smollet attempted to gain attention by sending a false letter that relied on racial, homophobic, and political language. When that didn't work, Smollet paid $3,500 to stage this attack and drag Chicago's reputation through the mud in the process. And why? This stunt was orchestrated by Smollet because he was dissatisfied with his salary. So he concocted a story about being attacked.
She did this because go listen to the audio. Go listen to the audio. Go listen to the audio. Before, I had 2 restraining orders against this woman before, both times. One time I didn't go through with it. I didn't show up to court because she said she didn't want to lose her job. The second time, her friend said, you know, don't do that to her because you was cheating on her. You know, give her a second chance. And I let her off the hook.
Story about being attacked. Orchestrated by Smollet because he was dissatisfied with his salary. So he concocted a story about being attacked. Now, our city has problems. We know that. We have problems that have affected people from all walks of life, and we know that. But to put the national spotlight on Chicago for something that is both egregious and untrue is simply shameful. I'm also concerned about what this means moving forward for hate crimes. Now, of course, the Chicago Police Department will continue to investigate all reports of these types of incidents with the same amount of vigor that we did with this one. But my concern is that hate crimes will now publicly be met with a level of skepticism that previously didn't happen. That said, Smollet was treated as a victim throughout this investigation until we received evidence that led detectives in another direction. I couldn't be more proud of the unrelenting detective work that went into this investigation, and I couldn't be more proud of every investigator that played a part in it.
I was telling everybody that even my therapist that, you know, like, yo, she's trying to frame me. She's trying to frame me. She's trying to frame me. It's like, yo, you been taking your meds? It's crazy, man. I got some boxing to do. R. Kelly, they finally got him. They finally got him. So I got to record CNN all day. And I'm going to cover that for you guys, along with boxing today. I'm TstreeT Controversy. This is TstreeT Uncut. Please subscribe.